And if you remember this so-called history of this COVID, when it all started, of course, Italy was dead set right in the middle of it, and the nation really paid a heavy price. Well, we got it too. And let me tell you, did you have it bad or not too good? No, we had it so bad. I mean, it was the only thing that didn't hurt on me. Do you see this little hair right there? That hair follicle was the only thing that I did not feel pain on. And well, anyway, then of course we had the actual lockdown in Italy, where you could not leave your area or your home unless you had to, what they call an autocertificazione, which is a self-declaration. You have to download it from the government. And you have to walk with that thing. And you have to say, and the police will stop, I'm going to the store. You have to say, you couldn't go from one place to the other. And it was just, well, of course our churches were shut down. And there was a time when everybody was watching everything on Zoom, YouTube, and all that. And then gradually we were able to start meeting together with masks and distancing, and still to this day. But I noticed there's a time, and I don't know if that's the same here, but there was a time where we were all enthusiastic, and and people were singing on their balconies, and we're going to get over this, and there was a flag that they had printed up, andrà tutto bene, which means everything will go good. It's all gonna work out. Well, that didn't last long because, of course, it hasn't. And we've noticed that from the initial, how could we say, zeal, and everyone's watching online, and now gradually people have just accustomed themselves to not coming to church. Now, I guess the people here, I like hardcore church kind of people. That's what I like. Because there's something about it. I don't know what it is. Yes, we do worship God. I know that there's teaching, and I know that you can sing at home, and I know that you can watch the video at home. But really, why would you watch, let's say, me, or when you watch John MacArthur? And why would you do it on Sunday at 10 o'clock when you could do it, let's say you're going to sleep at the Thursday at 11 p.m. at night? So that home thing it didn't really, in fact, in our church, we always did streaming live. And we stopped that in September because there's a purpose, I think, I really believe it's a good thing when you come to church. I was talking to Eric right here. Now, Eric, right?
Yeah, that's a good job.
And look at the size of that guy. Now, you can't appreciate him unless you see him live. And I didn't know that he had that huge dental work going on, but now I did, because we were together, and that's called fellowship. There's something about it. I don't know what it is. And the people that are not here today, now there's legitimate reasons, I know that, but there are some that just chose because it's easier to stay home. And if you've attended church and you're a member and you love the Lord and you love worshiping, that first Sunday when you're at home, it's isn't it sort of strange? It's Sunday. It's weird. Normally I get the shoes that we're in. Normally it's like 8:30, and you always have these. Normally it's like this. And then you have that other normal, they call it the new normal, when you're not going to, and then all of a sudden that new normal becomes the normal. And you're not attending church anymore. So God bless you all for being here. I was telling Joe, the average, they've taken a survey of about 1,500 churches, and they have come up with this very interesting numerical statistic whereby the average church, now I don't know if this is yours or someone else's, but the average church has about 60% of those who were once attending before the COVID. 60%. Let's just say if you were 100 people, you got 60 coming now. And then they say 20% of those will eventually trickle back in as the course of this COVID or we get accustomed to it or whatever. So that means, let's say, maybe in a year, you'll be back up to 80 people. But count on the fact of 20% you're never going to see again. Where'd they go? Well, they were never here to begin with, trust me. That's how I see that. We might be a little bit better in Italy there because there's not a whole lot of churches to speak of. So if you don't go to church, everybody knows it, and there's just not a lot of people. Before I even talk about Italy, which is that up there, do you know why we're supported by your church? Anybody know? How many of you know about our mission? Yeah, we're with the Mormons. You know that, right?
Yeah. There's the door.
You're in the right place.
Would you go call the other 3 wives of mine?
Oh my goodness.
They're waiting in my van.
Yeah. She's your favorite though, right?
One of the favorites.
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
They're all blonde. We're with the Conservative Baptists, of course. It's called World Vision. Now, it was 1977. I had just gotten appointed with our mission. And in this area, well, what they did back then, so I was 27 years old, very young and full of energy and so on and so forth, and I wasn't even married with this one. But the other 6 they were on target. And they had your church, along with other churches, had a summer hiking thing. It's called Strawberry Patch.
Strawberry Stone.
Bingo. And I believe your pastor back in those days was Fred Wilson.
Yeah. And Phil Steckman.
And was it Brian Heerwagen was here too?
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was just some people that either I knew them, and they said, oh, well, we need what was it called, the Strawberry Watch?
Stone.
Do you know what that is? Let me tell you what that is. First let me describe to you, you describe to me burns in July. How dry is it?
Very dry.
So your church, along with, I don't know, maybe other churches, or maybe just your church.
Probably John Day Church.
Maybe there was about 20 boys and girls, high schoolers, like you, but they weren't as big as you. That guy's big, isn't he? I told him, you don't have to worry about it. Those COVID bugs can't even get that high. And so they said, we need a missionary for the teaching thing. So I didn't know what they were talking about. So I come, and I have my little dog with me, Amos. And then I meet these people in this church. And for the next 5 days, I'm talking about boiling hot, dusty. Where would that place be? Where would we have gone? Just to
Strawberry Mountain.
Setting north. Due north, yeah.
And I just remember it was hot and dry there too. And there was no lakes or anything to speak of. I didn't know high lake.
But you had to walk it to find the lake.
You had to hike up there.
That's all we did.
Yeah.
And every day I'm supposed to do a Bible thing.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, horrible. And now you got to imagine there were boys and girls.
Oh, that's.
No bathrooms.
Oh no.
They
were tough back then.
I'm a sissy. I don't like that kind of stuff. Well, anyway, we survived because I did at least, and my dog did too. But what I didn't know is, and I'm just up there just doing this stuff. And I couldn't wait to get out. I just couldn't get out. But apparently some young kids must have come back here and said, Mom, Dad, or whatever, there's this guy. Can he come to our church and speak like he did when we were there?
Oh.
And so Fred must have been drunk or something. Yeah. And so I came back again.
Cool.
And since that time, you have been wasting your money on us.
Oh.
Isn't that amazing how these things
That's
happen?
wonderful.
And
Praise
I
God.
didn't know where, I still don't know what Burns is. And B, back then, I was desirous of just preaching the word. And that's still what I wanted to do. And every time we have had a relationship with Burns that's how many years? Since 1977 till now.
What is that?
Who knows math? You know math. How many? Get up, come on. This idiot. There's some more high schoolers. How many is it? 1977? 2000? Huh? 44. He says, yeah, that's what I said. 69. That's what you said. I was close. I gotta cancel you guys. Cancel your culture really good. Now, can you believe that? And Burns, we saw the development. I remember when you built that. I remember when this built up. And so we're always proud of this church. Not only have you faithfully supported us, and I'm not saying this because we're retiring or anything like that, but our relationship with this church is long and very intimate. So we thank you, and you have invested well because we have done the work there. Let me just give you a brief update now. We're back here in America now. Well, we think we're, because I don't know who you're under those faces what we see, but so we're here now. We sort of packed up our home and brought back our 3 suitcases and our 1 dog, and we're here now. What is our next chapter? I don't know. But in Italy, we left finally, not because we wanted to or had to, but we have our 3 kids here. I would like to continue doing something in the ministry, of course, because as long as I feel healthy and mentally aware and physically strong and spiritually holy, of course, you want to keep involved in the ministry. So what does the next chapter look like? I don't know. Chapter 1 of our book is filled with amazing stories of a ministry in Italy that's unique. And we ended that chapter, if we could say, in August. So we've been here about almost 2 months. And chapter 2 is about to be written. But we don't know what that is. It has to do with God, it has to do with His church. And I know the Lord can write all kinds of things in that for what we're supposed to do. And He already knows there are some words that He should never write in that book. And some of those words should be like words like Kentucky, Tennessee, Missouri,
Burns.
Louisiana.
No.
Louisiana's nice. I love it there. Yeah. It's beautiful there. We were there in New Orleans with my daughter about 2 years ago.
Really?
Let's see, what are some other words? How about Mississippi? Those words, I can't do that. I can't. But we could do this. This is nice.
Oh,
so,
cool.
anyway,
We're looking
this...
for a pastor.
Are you? This is Italy.
Join us up.
You know Italy. So, I like to show Italy like this because the Italy that we know, you see that if we could get, if it was darker, maybe I could make this darker.
Oh, turn off the lights.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, turn off the lights.
I was thinking about making this screen.
Contrast. No, there you go.
Oh, there you go. So there you see Italy. Yeah, there you see Italy. Now look at down below where we live. I'm going to show you where we lived is right here. That's Napoli. That's where real food is. If you've ever been to Napoli, of course, I can't even describe it to you. The food, it would make you hungry
You're kidding.
With your tooth.
That's hard. That's hard to imagine.
Even with your tooth.
Yeah.
And if you've ever had food from southern Italy, you know, if you're going to suffer for Jesus, I've always said, suffer where the food is good. When I go to Africa, you're still serving the Lord, you're still going to suffer, but the food is rotten. But here we get to serve the Lord and be in a place where the food is so
fantastic.
good. Now you look up further north, it's mainly safety, and it's still good. But it really is different than southern Italy. Southern Italy, we have a lot of sunshine and Mediterranean climate, and then of course it's probably two oceans, one on the Adriatic, one on the Mediterranean, and then you have the volcanic soil from Vesuvio, and even from Etna in the island of Sicily, and so the oranges and all of the citric things are just amazing, from the tomatoes, and then of course you got all the fruits and vegetables, and they don't ship the fruit like they do here in America, let's say from California, and then in a refrigerated thing, and it gets to Boston a week later in a Safeway store. They don't do it that way there. It's amazing. And then the further north you get, look at that. That's like Switzerland and stuff. You can't see very clearly, but it's caution is advised. And the further north you go, it's this horrible, I don't want to say food that, anybody here from Germany? Relative in Germany? From Germany? Yeah, oh boy, those sad people. It's literally tasteless the further, and then actually when you get up to the Scandinavia, it's actually toxic. But here is, I want to if this comes out here, let's get this video if I could show it. It's about pizza, but it's not going to go, so we're not worried about that.
It's not going to go?
This is Europe, this is Italy. In the common market. Now you see all those nations are all part of, it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. Italy used to be the part of, yes, it was the European, it was called, it's one of the 7 nations of the European common market. Now there's just a whole bunch of them. Now the problem is, what we do in Italy is related to all those others in and around Europe. All to say that it's basically socialism now. We don't have our own money. We use the euro, right? We used to have the lira, and it was an Italian money. In Germany, they had the franc, and France also their own franc, and the peso, whatever, in Spain. And then they canceled everything out in 2002, and the value of the euro went up, the value of the lira went down, and we get stuck in the middle. Now, who's that?
That must be your video.
Is that me?
That must be your video.
Every
Yeah.
time I touch it, look at that.
I think that's coming from the sanctuary.
Look at that.
Amazing.
Every time you give us, your church, $1, we don't get $1. You need to know that, because your generosity sometimes is destroyed by politics. So your dollar comes from your generous, hardworking, sacrificial offerings. And we thank you. But you didn't give us $1. The very most you gave us at the exchange rate, because of the euro, is about 74 cents. So you gave us 74 cents. You didn't give us $1. Now you have administration fees from our mission, which are small. So let's just say now we're down to about 70 cents.
Oh.
But now you have international bank transfer. What does that come out to? What is it? You do all that. How much is it now? When they do the exchange thing from the...
It depends on the exchange rate.
Yeah, it depends on the exchange rate.
It goes up and down.
So let's just say your wonderful dollar that you thought you gave us, now it's about 70 cents or so.
Oh.
What am I supposed to do with 70 cents in a country where gas is sky high into the $8, $9 range? What do I, but you see, that's what happens when you have you live in a socialist environment where everything is basically controlled by Belgium and by Germany. And the little guy down in southern Italy, he just pays the price. And so you have inflation, you have unemployment. Unemployment where we are at amongst the young people in Napoli between the ages of 18 and 35 is over 50%.
Oh.
So what does that mean? Mafia. What does that mean? You see, we don't have Google, we don't have
Facebook.
We don't have those, the big companies. And we have Fiat, but they're in northern Italy. And Alitalia just went out of business. Did you know that? It's like the TWA of years ago. It went out of business. How do we know? We took one of the last flights on it.
Oh.
Horrible. And imagine on a long distance flight from Roma to JFK. They're unbelievable. They're giving you a small bottle of not even cold water in one of those plastic things like that. Well, not even a big bottle. Not even cold. Not even ice. And then for the food, it was, I'm sure it was reconstituted vomit. It had to be.
Oh.
Because I saw nothing that resembled what we call food.
Oh.
The color was strange.
Oh.
It was moving.
It was moving.
And then it was horrible.
Hey, but it was fresh though.
Yeah, it was. It was a nasty flight. Just to give you this is really strange. The day before we were to leave, I get a call from Alitalia. You have to understand, after 45 years of living in Italy, we didn't bring back things. As of this moment, as of Sunday, the 3rd of October, we don't know where we're going to live. We have no home. We have none of that. So we didn't bring back stuff with us.
Oh.
So we brought back computers and clothes and things like that. That's about it. And so everything else in our home, guess what happened? We had guys who were sledgehammers. They broke everything and we just threw everything away. So that's all taking place. And while that's all taking place, just dismantling our home that we had rented all these years, get a call. Alitalia, buongiorno, signor Valenzuela. Si. Your flight has been canceled. I said, what? Well, anyway, they completely canceled our flight. One day prior to leaving, I had to figure out a whole other routing to get back. Plus, we had our little dog, and he had to figure that out. And so we're back. Not to say it was without pain and suffering and agony, but we got back. Alitalia's out of business. Fiat, of course, is making their cars along with Chrysler, Fiat Chrysler. And you know what Fiat stands for? It's the company, the national Italian company, FIAT. It means fix it again, Tony. That's Fiat. Don't ever own a Fiat. I'll tell you that right now. Don't do it. You're looking for trouble. Well, we have mafia, we have unemployment, we have crime, but we have churches, and so we're thankful that we spend our time in churches. So let me just show you where we live. There is that's Italy right there, just to get an idea of it. It's a little peninsula, and everybody's 60 million. By the way, that area right there, that's the size of Oregon. And as far as the superficial, what do you call it? Superficial. The area size, superficial. What do you call it? The size, superficial. You understand Italian? Does nobody here understand Italian?
No.
L'Italia e l'Oregon, la stessa grandezza superficie. I told my wife.
Okay.
She understands me.
Yeah.
But she said I already knew that. So, but on that little island, peninsula, 60 million pizza-loving Italians.
Oh.
Oregon, how many? 5 million?
Closer to 4.
4? And plus,
The good part only has 7,000.
Yeah.
the real ones only get.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, you see in the middle there's a ridge, the montagne, there's a whole thing of mountains that goes the whole way. So really, all of those 16 million, basically, they don't live in the middle, they'll live in 1/3 of the area that is Italian, because 2/3 are really unusable.
Oh.
Some, not like your desert, but it's mountainous and it's difficult. So you have a lot of people. And those people are people that have always been there, and Italians have a hard grasp of understanding the Bible. Now, these are the percentages in Europe. I think I've given you before. These are what you and I would consider a born-again Christian. You look at all those percentages in Europe, they're really, really bad off. Some because of Muslim invasions or whatever, some because of Catholic. And when you think of Italian born-again believers, we are about 0.5%.
Oh.
So 0.5%. Now, when I say 0.5%, I'm not talking about just because you call yourself Christian, because many people have misunderstood what we do. They say, what are you going to Italy to convert the Catholics for? I never said that's what we go. We're going to Italy to preach Jesus Christ. I don't care if you're Catholic, Buddhist, Nudist, Baptist, whatever. If you don't know Jesus Christ, it doesn't matter. He's not going to ask you when you go to heaven, what church did you go to? He said, do you know my son? That is it. Yeah. So we went there to preach Christ, and that's our main purpose to this day. So, 0.5 of 1%. That's a large amount, even as we consider it, because I don't see that many there to begin with. It hasn't really changed that much over the course of the years. Some people think that other non-European countries may need Christ more or whatever, but look, these are some of the countries, whether it's Vietnam or China, even North Korea. Do you know North Korea? There's so many Christians, but they're all underground, and they're there, millions of them. And in China, they consider at least 100 million born-again believers. And Italy, that's our number, and it's really sad because of a number of reasons. We'll get into that in a minute. But when we think of all of these nations and the lack of Christians in Italy, it is because of a number of things. It's because of the fact that, well, what would you say? Why would you say it's so difficult? What would you say are some top reasons why that number is so slow? I mean, so low.
Because they're...
Pardon me?
Catholic Church is just becoming a social thing.
There you go. One is the Catholic Church. Now, the Catholic Church is not Italians don't go to church. Fewer than 10% attend Mass even once a month. But they're all born Catholic. Like you're all born American. Only because you're an American. Now, you may not vote. You may not like the president. You may like the president. You may salute the flag. You may burn the flag. You do anything you want. But you're an American. We're just American. And that's how it is being Catholic. You may go to the church. You may not go to the church. You may hate the Pope. You may not hate the Pope. You may baptize. But you know what? I'm an Italian. Therefore, I'm Catholic. You didn't say, I'm an Italian and I go to church and I believe what the church says. I'm an Italian and I'm Catholic. That's how it works. And why are you a Catholic? What's the only reason why you're a Catholic? Because you're born there. So, Eric,
Yep.
why is Eric Catholic? Because his mom and his dad were Catholic, right?
Yeah.
Why is Eric's mom and dad Catholic?
Your mom and dad.
No.
His grandpa was Catholic.
Okay.
Why was grandpa Catholic? Great grandparents were Catholic.
Hey, now you're pushing.
Because Jesus was. Well, because God is.
Oh.
None of that means any sense, right?
No.
But that's how it is. What do hot dogs have to do with the 4th of July? But they do. That's just how it is. What does any of that have to do with being in the Bible? It doesn't. But go ahead and try to take that out of the mind of someone who has been there. By the way, Italians have always been there. All of you, except for half of me, because I'm half Indian, you know that. My father's American Indian, born and raised on the reservation in Tucson. But all of you came here somehow or other.
Yeah.
But Italians are not like you, because they've always been there. How long have they been there? Since Italy's been there. Well, Renaissance, they've been there. Roman times, they've been there. Greek times, they've been there. Etruscan times, they've always been there. They're always Italian.
Wow.
And so we're the new kid on the block. And we try to present Christ. We don't even have it. Other continents are not like Italy. For example, Africa, Latin America, Asia, and Europe. When I say 2.4% in Europe, I'm talking about Scandinavian countries. I'm talking about Germany, Switzerland, Austria, where they have Anglican, Lutheran, let's call them Protestant. But Italy is always that little percent, because they can't rip themselves away from who they are. It's like me coming to you. Now here you're having your big Thanksgiving, 4th of July. That's just part of being American. And I come here, let's say to Burns. I come here and then I look at your flag, and then I take a look at the turkey and the hot dogs or whatever. And I say, maybe it's not like you think it is. What's that guy going to do to me? He's going to run me out of town, right? Because you're talking. See, he doesn't care about the flag. He cares about everything that it is. And he's just an American. And that hot dog is an American. And the turkey is an American turkey. And the NFL on Thursday is a Thanksgiving is American. And I'm coming and I'm telling him, that's how the Italian thinks about the gospel. All right, whoa, so you're starting to touch my culture. You see how difficult it is? And then they have, from where we live, we're in Napoli, 200 kilometers north, let's say 100 miles north of us, lives in a city, someone that is unique to the whole world. Who is that? The Pope. He's Christ's substitute on earth, the vicar of Christ. He represents Jesus on the planet Earth. Now, when you got that, wow! I mean, what is the most that you Protestants have? Billy Graham? Benny Hinn? That it? That's all you come up with? And that's pretty sad, isn't it? Think of the uniforms. And they have a guard, the Vatican guard, the Swiss guard. Now, none of that is biblical. But it's all, you know where it is? It's so deep in their veins that they can't pull themselves out of it. And then they have another thing that makes it so difficult in Southern Europe, especially in Italy. They have Father, Son, Holy Ghost, and there's a fourth person in that,
Oh, Mary.
Mary. And who is Mary to a Catholic? Well, the titles of Mary are, she's the mother of
God.
Mother of God. She's the mother of Jesus. She's the mother of God. Jesus is God's. She's the mother of God. Well, but that's one of the small titles. She's the Queen of Heaven. She's co-redeemer. She's co-intercessor. If you go to Rome, outside the Pantheon, in the center of Rome, there's a huge cross, and on one side there's Jesus crucified, and it's on the other side Mary. Now, what are they saying? She helps you get in. Get up to Mary and say, hey, man, that's happening. Talk to your son about me. That's how it works.
Yeah.
It's not in the Bible.
Nope.
It doesn't have to be, because they don't read their Bible. Because they have everything in their culture that helps them be what they are. So you have this Mary who then intercedes for you. And she's the mother of all, amami tutte mamme. She's the mother of all mothers. And that's hard. We all got a mother, right? It doesn't matter who your daddy is, but now they say, you got a mother, and that's all that counts. And even in jail, what do those prisoners have on their arm here?
Mary.
They don't have pops. They got mom, right? So your mother, and I don't want to offend anybody, your actual mother could be a prostitute, a jailbird, criminal. She could have hated you, but mom is always mom. So imagine she's the mother of the church. Well, the church could be robbing me, have pedophiles, but the church is, how can I leave Mary? How can I abandon my mom? How do you expect me to do it? And then, last one, your Jesus is the great, I'm telling you, it's a wonderful Jesus Christ is the blah, blah. Isn't that right? He's
Oh,
great.
praise
Yeah.
God, yes.
Oh, wonderful Jesus, that blah, blah. I'm on the other side. You got that one? If it's so great, why don't I see any of you around? We have the greatest store in all of Ben with the greatest prices, but we're going bankrupt. No one's coming. You see how that psychologically touches your mind, and you say, well, if your gospel, Emma, is so great, where are you all? That's a good question. So we're dealing with all of this, and I'm going to share how we broke down those barriers in the message. So I'm not going to give it all away here, but I'm just going to tell you right now that as we have lived over there, this is what it is right now. 8,101 cities, counties, areas. What is this county called here? Harney County. There's 8,000 Harney counties in Italy, and 70% are without a gospel witness. That means they don't have a believer in those cities. I didn't say a church. I'm talking about they didn't have a Joe. They didn't have an Aaron. What's your name? Melon?
Noah.
Oh, now in school, do you guys have to wear your mask when you say things? You have to answer out loud? So 90% of your answers could be wrong and the teacher would know, right? I mean, that's a question.
Maybe.
So you could be dumb like you and still...
Oh.
I'm asking you, is that right? Yeah. That's a beautiful thing. Is that your son?
Yeah, that's my son, yeah. I'm proud of him, too.
Yeah, well, that's right. Look at the dad. He's got the thing going there.
Yeah.
So 5,000, we don't have a gospel witness. That is 0.5%. That's our 300,000.
Wow.
So that helped. Right now, we're still with our mission. We're still up until March. I'm going to share with you this last thing here. This is what you think of it. Okay, that's what you think. All these wonderful items, ice cream, cafe, mafioso, beautiful women, Fonzie,
Fiat.
calcio, leaning to everything. But when you think of Italy, this is what you need to think this.
Oh.
You have to think that. You have to think this line is eternity in heaven and hell. And 99.5, they have 1 foot in hell already. You see what they're waiting for? They're just waiting for the, okay, last breath, boom, you're done. So, we want to be part of this continual ministry here. We want to be part in Italy. We're not retiring in the sense of finishing up our career or whatever. We're just not back there physically. We have men that, whatever your support was given to us, and when March comes, I'll write it all to you, Sharon, and to help support the pastors that are ministering there, that we left behind. Men and women, these two of them are right here, Jenny and Marco. One was studying to be a Catholic priest, the other was a dope addict. There they are on the day that, in May of this past year, 40 years ago, I led them to Christ. 40 years ago, they're still standing strong for Christ. And what support you gave to us, I would like you to transfer that to them. We have a project set up, it's called Italian Ministries, and it's the same as our ministry in Italy in terms of taxes and all that. And that way, I can do 2 or 3 things. We can always come back here, because you see, we're still part of the team. And we're supporting the mission over there, and we can keep in contact with each other as we look to change 0.5% to 1%. It's tough. We're in the same ball game. I know that. You and I, in terms of COVID and all this stuff. Will it change? It get better? I don't know. But our message is going to stay the same. I'm going to share that in the next hour here, if you're not bored. Are you going to come?
Yeah.
You see, I didn't see what he said. He just... But he could have said, "Are you kidding me?" He said, "You cannot go." What's your name?
Noah.
That's much better. Thank you, Burns. But you know what? On the other hand, you could say thank you to us, because you invested well. And we've used your resources to invest in men and women who are making a difference today. They've already had their services 9 hours ago. I don't know if a whole bunch of people came, a few people came, but you'll see some of the results in the next hour. Things that are great, and some of you have been there, like we know, and you've been a great part of our lives. And well, I don't count the strawberry stomp. What is that, strawberry patch? Stomp. I'm going to forget that I did that, but the result was good because I came here. Amen. But sometimes, like painful, you got to go to the dentist.
Yeah.
They didn't even have bathrooms there.
At the dentist?
At the dentist they did.
Yeah.
But when I was walking, they didn't even have bathrooms. I should go to heaven just for that, you know?
All the suffering and anguish you went through.
It was, and the food was terrible.
Oh, terrible. Toxic.
Yeah.
You had hot dogs, didn't you?
Yeah, we had hot dogs.
Okay.
Or what he thought were hot dogs.
Brian was there. Yeah. Fred was here. That was, we've been, think of all those years that we've still been, it's good. Okay, let's pray together. Thank you, Lord, for this brief time, Sunday school time with this great church that has been part of our lives for so many decades. And every time we come back, it's like we've just left for a weekend and we're back again. So as they are continuing their process for pastoral search and endeavors to continue their ministry here, even what we see here this morning is encouraging to our hearts and lets us know that you haven't forgotten the people here in Burns, and you have a plan, and even for Italy. So as we look together to the future, we thank you. Give us a great worship time together. In Jesus' name, amen. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Where are the donuts?
I almost went and got donuts, and I thought,
Almost.
he's
You know, I
eat donuts.
Almost is such a great thing.
Almost is a great thing, yeah.
Yeah,
It's the thought that counts.
Jonah.
You don't know
Noah.
No, yeah.
the guy on the boat? Yeah. Noah on the boat, you know.
What do you do?
Well, he put a bunch of animals on there. And
Ah.
In the Bible, yeah.